pressure, it's easy to become disconnected from our inner knowing. Cathy blends storytelling with innovative, creative, and somatic practices to help women rebuild that connection. Today, we'll explore how to cultivate a compassionate dialogue with your body, heart, and mind, moving from resistance to partnership. Very excited for this, Cathy. Please join me in welcoming Cathy Williams to the stage.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm actually going to invite us all to just, even if you want to be sitting or standing, just take a stretch. Yeah, we've been consuming a lot of information today. We've had a gloriously full day. So just, and the noises, release. Just follow any impulses in your own body and the feedback from your own body of how it wants to stretch out. Anything that you need to do to be able to take in the rest of today. And as you're ready, just taking your seat back down, but making sure that you feel really comfortable, yeah? So noticing that contact with the chair, just presencing our body in the space, that we have a body, that we're in bodies, and that our bodies carry us through all that we experience in life. So thank you, Sonia, for having me. I feel really honoured to be part of this today and to be up here with all of these women and to share with you today. I'm Cathy Williams. I am an Australian-born Chinese woman and I am a movement expressive arts therapist. My debut book did win 2 awards, yay! And I'm a trainer in body-based healing. And I've titled my talk today with a little bit of play on words. It's called Intuition, Your Body of Knowledge. Because my story and my experience is that it is through the body that I became more attuned to my intuition. It was through learning how to read my body's signals that I was able to acknowledge that I had intuitive guidance that was actually in my corner and with me all along. But through different experiences, I dismissed that voice. I overrode it with overanalyzing, with disconnecting from my feelings. And I want to talk about how I came to this place of actually recognizing that my intuition is now my compass and my biggest ally. And that's through having a deep relationship and compassionate relationship with my body. So as you can imagine, it wasn't always that way. I actually have a long history of putting my brain up on a pedestal and overdoing, overstretching, overthinking, was in a overproductive, almost rushed, go, 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 do, no time or space to be, no time to feel my feelings. And it was in this process of doing and overdoing that I actually got burnt out and recognized that I had been treating my body as a bit of a vessel to get from A to B. Now, I know from some nods in the space already and from the women that I've gotten to work with that I'm not alone in this experience, that through many different circumstances, through our body's response to different traumatic events, through burnout, through different coping mechanisms, that we can become disconnected from our bodies, that we look to numb or distract ourselves from our feelings, and we're not able to feel safe enough or supported enough to actually face what might be going on within ourselves. And I know that this process can be incredibly overwhelming. It can be incredibly intimidating. I was very scared to stop and scared to pause and scared to feel my feelings. probably because I thought that I would be quite catatonic. And I was needed, we're needed. We need to show up. We need to show up in our roles as daughters, as parents, in our work, with our friends, with our partners. So I pushed myself to keep showing up and to never allow myself to feel my feelings. And I always wonder what it is about women and feeling safe enough to feel our feelings and why we feel so much shame, so much guilt for this. Has anyone ever had it reflected back to them in a really negative way that they feel too much, that they're too sensitive? That was my experience too, particularly as a child. My mother, bless mum for all that she is and all that she did for me and my sister, but she was never shown healthy ways to feel her feelings. She was never given permission to feel her feelings in a way that was accepted. She was never allowed to express how she was feeling. And so in turn, she taught my sister and I that there were good feelings and that there were bad feelings, and you never wanted to feel the bad feelings. And I never wanted to express anything that was going to make my mum feel uncomfortable. Yeah, so unless I was happy, I wasn't allowed to show anger, wasn't allowed to show that I was upset. So you can imagine that I suppressed, and did a pretty good job with learning coping mechanisms to hide everything away. But what we avoid becomes our shadow, and what we suppress gets stored in our bodies. So as a movement and art therapist, I know that our bodies carry all that we've experienced. And when we don't get an outlet and we don't allow ourselves an outlet to express what is there to be felt and expressed and is naturally rising to the surface, this can then get stored and it can fester and it can become dis-ease. So here I was learning from a young age that feelings were bad and that I needed to mask and suppress. And that's when I started to really disconnect from my feeling body. What I know now is that our feelings are there to be felt. What we feel, we free. And what we come to sense and feel, they're intuitively telling us something. Yeah, there's messages there, there's stories there that need to be told. And when we connect to what we can work with our whole body, heart, and mind, that is, this can then support us to navigate our lives. So who here has their own definition or understanding of intuition? Okay. Are we familiar with the term intuition? Yeah, and the concept. In some circles, you may have heard the phrase women's intuition or mother's intuition. Intuition has been defined as a sense of knowing without knowing how one knows. Knowledge from an ability to understand or know something immediately based on our feelings rather than facts. Also known as a gut feeling or a hunch. The essence of intuition or intuitive knowing is that they are reached with little apparent effort and involve little conscious deliberation. Now, I am personally all for the woo, except intuition isn't a woo-woo concept. It is our connection to our truth, I believe. It is a deep feeling, and a connection to our intuition means that it's connecting us to our truth, to a compass. From a young age, I had a really strong sense of self. But through life circumstances, through the responses from people around me in my world growing up, and from different environments, I started to really doubt this inner knowing and this sense of self. And I imagine we've all probably had our own experiences of microaggressions, of micro moments where we've doubted ourselves, where we've abandoned ourselves, and where we might have felt that something was off, that we couldn't necessarily put a logical reason behind, but maybe we dismissed that feeling and went ahead with something anyway. Many moons ago, in a period of my life where I felt like I was shining pretty brightly and kicking goals, I met someone. And through this engagement, I slowly began to stop listening to my intuition. And this strong sense of who I was started to dwindle. With this person, I was in a romantic relationship, and I naively shared and entrusted with them pretty vulnerable detailings of my heart. Like visiting an art gallery of my soul, this person walked through my life and visited moments that had impacted me. And this gallery exhibition was interactive. They were given full access to press on the displays and poke them around and move them around and change their shape. I had given this person full access to my inner world and to knowing parts of me that I lacked confidence in. Now, in a healthy, loving relationship, we can hope that the people that we share our deep inner worlds with and our insecurities laid bare, that they can ease those insecurities and love all those seemingly unlovable parts of us. But this wasn't that kind of relationship. The ways in which my body had actually always been communicating with me and telling me that something was off, that twisted gut pull, that little niggle behind my neck. At this time in this relationship, all those signals were there, yeah? That communication was there. But instead of listening to understand what my body was trying to warn me about, I turned the volume right down and I let someone else's voice and opinion be louder than my own inner knowing. And in doing this, I disconnected from my body further, and I turned my back on my intuition, and I ultimately gave my power over to someone else. And in doing this, I lost sight of myself and became more and more distant from my own inner light and that compass that had been guiding me. In my book, I share an extract from one of my earlier journals when I started to get some support and realize what was going on. And I sat down and I wrote a letter to my intuition. I started a dialogue with my intuition again. And I wrote, I am sorry I stopped listening. I am sorry I shut you out. I dismissed your signals. I downplayed you. I convinced myself that I knew better. I mistook you for self-doubt, fear, insecurity. There was a time when I hated you. I thought that you had left me, abandoned me. But you hadn't. I had only stopped listening. I don't think I ever learned how to listen, but I am willing to listen now. My intuition is my compass. It is an inner resource, a guide that I know is always available to me. I just needed to remember that she first existed and really actively cultivate a strong relationship with her. And a big part of this was learning ways through movement and art therapy to come back to my body, to learn that this body is a safe place, that I could trust my body sensations. Through various meditations, I've come to know my intuition as a fireplace that is always got a seat for me, that I can come and sit and pause and feel, where I can let go, where I can come seeking answers. And sometimes this fireplace is but a few flames dancing on twigs, and sometimes it is raging. And even in my most challenging times, and I've had a few this year, there are still embers burning. Having a relationship with my intuition means that I don't let the self-talk or the seeds of doubt control how I move through the world. I can trust what I'm sensing, and I can make decisions that feel right for me, even if they don't make sense to anyone else, and even when they aren't convenient for other people. I can move confidently in the way that feels authentic and aligned with my values. Now, if this is resonating with any of you, if you can relate to different ways that you may have disconnected from or ignored or dismissed your intuition, I want to say that for me, my path of healing was to first acknowledge that my intuition existed. And as I read out, start a dialogue with her. And it was through this that I began to learn how my intuition lives in my body and my felt sense. So I'm going to invite you to lean into this concept that your body is a resource that is constantly in communication with you. And when we start to get curious about what it is trying to say, there is great wisdom here. We can tap into our intuition and we can work in partnership with our body as an ally. And this process doesn't have to be intimidating. It doesn't have to be copious amounts of time that we've got free. It doesn't look like a week-long retreat, although that would be nice. We can start this relationship and rekindling this relationship right now. We can start simply. Start by finding a pause. Start by checking in with our body and meeting all these different parts of ourselves and any rising emotion with compassion and acceptance. What we feel, we free. I'm going to say that again so it settles in. And our brain overrides what is new with what it knows. So this is why I really encourage us to make it a practice to keep returning and coming back to foster this relationship with self. So, are we open to this concept? Yeah, cool. What I'm going to do now is I've got a little visualization that has really helped me connect further with my intuition, and something that I'm going to guide us through right now with the hopes that you can continue this practice beyond today. So again, maybe just doing a little movement to really settle into your space on the chair in this room. Bring in any touch to your body. Maybe that's a brush. Maybe that's a little wiggle. And as you're ready, I'm going to invite you to close or lower your eyes if you're comfortable. And with this, we're really bringing our focus inward and bringing your awareness to your breath, knowing that there is nothing that you need to do or be or change. Simply being with your breath, noticing the quality of your breath, feeling the movements and any sensations within your body as you breathe in and out, just naturally. Feeling the fullness of your breath in this moment and allowing it to connect you into this moment, soften you into your feeling body, into your heart, allowing your breath to awaken your curious and inspired mind and imagination for this exercise. We are carving out this intentional sacred space to be with ourselves, and offer our attention towards our intuition. Your intuition, this rich resource within, a place of intuitive knowing, of truth, of support, of guidance, all is available to you through cultivating this relationship. And if it feels comforting and supportive, I'm going to invite you to place one hand over your heart and the other over your belly, and feel this contact with your body. Feel the warmth and comfort available here. And send your breath to these two spaces, your heart and your gut, often the home that houses our intuition. With your intuition, there is nothing that you need to do, no way you need to show up. Come as you are, she beckons. All parts of you are welcome here. All emotions are welcome here. Now, this may be a new notion to sit with your intuition, or it may be as familiar as reuniting with an old friend. Whatever your experience, I'm inviting you to gently lean in and breathe your way through any rising resistance, any emotion. And I'm going to ask that your intuition becomes more known to you in this moment. Inviting our imagination and our curiosity to lead the way here. Allowing any images to rise in your mind's eye. I'm going to ask, what does your intuition look like in this moment? If it was to show itself to you, take form, what form does it take? Perhaps it is a color, an object, or an animal. Perhaps it appears as a person or a landscape. Perhaps you are feeling it through a particular sensation or a particular part of your body. Allowing your imagination to show what it wishes to show you, not forcing, just allowing. Perhaps it takes the form of one of the elements: earth, fire, wind, water. Maybe it's angelic, maybe it's ancestral, shamanic, or nature-based. As your intuition begins to appear in your mind's eye or through sensations in the body, however it wishes to show up, what qualities does it have? Is it courageous, strong? Is it comforting, nourishing? How do you feel as you look upon your intuition, sit with your intuition, soak in the essence of your intuition? And can you offer your intuition some space, some love, some attention in this moment? Breathing and allowing. Is there anything your intuition wishes to share with you in this moment? Allowing yourself to receive. Perhaps you are shown a memory. Perhaps it speaks to you in words. Perhaps you notice different sensations come alive. Noticing, observing, receiving this exchange. Is there anything that you wish to say to your intuition? Anything you want your intuition to know? Sitting with her for just a moment longer. May you feel the vast, open, expansive depths she is capable of. May you nestle into her nooks and soak in the wisdom, the strength, the love that is available to you here. May you soften into her protection, lean into her guidance. May you continue to stay connected to this thread of taking an intentional moment to tune in with yourself and know this path that leads you to her is always available. May you be ever emboldened, ever encouraged, ever reassured of her presence, of her care, of her support. Taking a full, deep breath here as you soak all of that in. And I invite you to offer thanks to your body and your intuition for what you have experienced, what you have felt, and what you have been shown. As you are ready, bringing this exploration to a close, softly feeling your hands on your body, feeling the support of the chair holding you, feeling your feet on the earth, and gently opening your eyes and returning to this space. Is there anyone that wishes to share what they may have felt or seen in that process? Yeah. Mm, great. Well, she's going to be your best friend now. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. If I can leave you with one thing, it is that you all have an abundance of wisdom within you. So I really encourage you to cultivate that relationship with your body and your intuition, to return to that place where you can sit with her and ask her questions and build that relationship. My book, Body Wisdom, is available for you to flip through on our book stand. You can find out more about my services at intuitiveself.com.au. I do offer free 1 hour long sessions for a discovery session to check in with each other and see how I can support you. My name's Cathy Williams, and you've been amazing.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cathy. Really moving. Cathy and Emily and Adele and Diane are going to join us after the break for a panel discussion, but let's just have a little bit of afternoon tea, a bit more of a stretch, maybe get some fresh air, and we'll see you back here in 15 minutes.